All right, guys, welcome to another video. And it's been a hot minute since I've done one of these, and I haven't done one of these in this kind of fashion. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm just going to be answering some of your guys' questions when it comes to training, physique stuff, mental health, discipline, lifestyle, identity, all that kind of stuff. I want to cover a few different facets, a few different areas of education, I guess. So this will give you a little bit more insight into me and get to learn a little bit more about me, who I am. You know, obviously you watch me on Instagram and you do get a lot of the raw version of me, but I think this is a little bit more in depth and I can connect with you guys a little bit more. So I want to continue doing these. Don't hold me against my word, but that is the plan from here on out. So this is going to be the go. First question I wanted to get into and answer for you guys was, how did bodybuilding help you through your lowest points mentally? And wow, this is a bit of a deep one off the bat. So obviously, bodybuilding and the health and fitness lifestyle, it teaches us things, right? It teaches us those characteristics of discipline, of giving everything your all, of never giving up, learning to fail, because failure is learning as well. All right, failure is education. Doing things when you're not bothered, you still get things done. All of these characteristics and things bodybuilding has taught me, and I've been able to apply that to my life from the get-go. When I started the journey, bodybuilding and that lifestyle in itself, that structure and that routine as well, alongside all these things, because you don't really develop those characteristics, obviously, from at the forefront of when you begin. It takes some time to get there. But I think that structure and that accountability that I held for myself in order to, get my physique from A to B. And I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to give myself a challenge and finally not give up on something. And it just happened to be that this was it. And so that lifestyle kind of came a little bit more, it wasn't comfortable, it wasn't easy, but I embraced it. I let it happen naturally. And I just took whatever came at me for what it was. So going back to when I began, that structure and that accountability helped me, keep my head on straight, especially when I started to feel down or depressed and I started to fall back into my old habits. And it wasn't an easy, it's not one of those things that you just begin training and you never stop training and that's it, it's a happy ending. It doesn't work like that, obviously. It's inhuman. We're not robots. So that structure and routine allowed me to have that base there. And because I had that structure and routine, it gave me a lot more purpose and direction. And because a lot of my thing, right, it was dealing with a lack of purpose or dealing with a lack of direction, I kind of lent into that, and that's how I started to notice the mental health benefits of training a lot more. And yeah, without going into way too much detail, I think that kind of explains that question a little bit more. But whenever I, revert back into that mindset or that negative mentality, it is the structure and the routine and everything that I've learned so far about myself and how to push myself through adversity that keeps me afloat. So that's how I would address that question. Question number 2 is, what do you tell clients who feel like giving up? And this one's a bit of a doozy. When it comes to this, because I have it here and there, and it's not uncommon to kind of get this question or to have people say this. I ask them, like, why would you give up? The only person that you're going to be letting down is yourself. All this work that you've put in to get to where you are now, what, you're just going to throw that all away for nothing? And I think when people actually say that, I just want to give up, I don't actually think they mean it a lot of the time. I think they want someone to kind of relate to them, and I give them my stories, on why I pushed through the 10 years of bodybuilding and how I got to where I am today. On that journey, there were so many periods of time where I wanted to give up. This journey was not smooth sailing. So every few weeks, really, it felt like I would ask myself, and I remember back then, I was probably like a year into it. I was like, is this worth it? Like, is this going to be worth it? I'd sit there and ask myself, like, am I wasting all my time doing nothing? I think I'm putting on muscle, but I'm not too sure because I can't really quantify it. Like, I can't really hold it or see it. And that's where photos obviously come into play, and photos are extremely important to monitor and track your progress. But I wanted to give up multiple times, like hundreds of times. Hundreds of times I wanted to give up. And if I did, I wouldn't be where I am today. And every time that thought came into my head, I would always just say to myself, I'm like, what, you're going to give up again? You're going to give up on something else that is a positive influence on your life and is helping you make strides towards where you want to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to give that up just because of temporary sadness or depression? Absolutely fucking not. Why would I do that to myself? I owe myself more than that. I hold myself, to a higher standard than that. It wasn't a mentality that's, like I said, developed like that, but it was every time you kind of push through it, every time you want to give up and you push through it, it gets a little bit easier each time. And over time, it still comes into my head these days, even with business. I think to myself, fuck, is this really fucking worth it, man? I'm putting all my efforts into this. I'm stressing myself out sometimes. I'm not sure if it's going to work, if I'm going to fail, or like what's the plan B? And there is no plan B. And every time those thoughts come into my head, I just continue pursuing. I realize that it's a fleeting thought. It's not how I truly feel deep down. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone on this journey myself in order to want to help other people get to where I am today, because that's why I started it all. And it wouldn't do them a service either. I'd be doing them a disservice, all my clients, all those people that look up to me. Now, it wouldn't be doing any good, any positive for me, besides removing some stress from my shoulders. One of those things now that I ask myself too is, would I rather stress over my own business and be able to have the flexibility to work my own hours, even though they are long hours, and I work never finishes up in the brain, like it's always ticking. Would I rather do that, or would I rather spend that time stressing for someone else's business, where they're going to be putting money in their pockets, and they're going to be getting the benefit out of all of my hard work? And so those are the kinds of questions I pose to myself. So I urge you as well, if you are in that same boat, ask yourselves the same questions, and apply it to whatever situation it is that you're in. Well, what a long-winded answer for such a simple question. But I think it's important for me to go a little bit deeper into my mental and how I think and how I approach things, because that's how I overcome a lot of my adversity in the past. So anyway, we'll get into a different question. So we'll go maybe one more training. I'll just have a read through these. What's the number one mistake guys make when they start training seriously? It's a good question. I think when people take the leap into this lifestyle, into this betterment of themselves, the main mistake that they make is they go too hard too quickly and burn themselves out. And I was a culprit of that in the past too. I did that for the first few years, I would go really hard, 100% for like maybe not the first few years, but at least a year. I'll go 100% for like a week, and then a week after I would do 50%, and then I'd go 100% for another week, and then the week after I'd go 30, 40%. And it's like that equation just doesn't work in this world. We need to have, in my opinion, at least an 80 to 90% adherence to especially our nutrition plan mainly. At 100% adherence to our training plan, I don't see why there's any excuse to not train 10 out of 10, every time you go into the gym. Do it rain, hail or shine, you're fucking tired, mentally tired, physically tired, I don't care. I've done it all, and so can you. But there's no excuse to not train 100%, balls to the wall every time, with good form, of course. But that nutrition is where most people, they struggle with. And I think doing an 80%, 100% of the time is going to get you a lot further than doing 100%, 50% of the time. And then the other 50% you fall off. And so what I would say is manage your consistency, find some sort of lifestyle that's going to work for you. I'm going to have, clients on my team that are slightly different to others. Some are 100% adherent all the fucking time, no questions asked, right? And I don't expect that of everyone, I'll be honest. But you do have those people that are just robots and they just want it. And that's good for them. But I would say for the majority of people, that 80% is going to get you a long way, and just doing that over time and being consistent with it. Having a weekend here and there, off with the missus, out with the boys, I think that's the main mistake that most people make. So that's what I would start working on if you are trying to really take this stuff seriously. That goes for bodybuilders as too, not just lifestyle people. People that are wanting to get into bodybuilding, I still think an 80% lifestyle will carry you a lot further. And I'm a testament to that as well. I've never been 100% of the time. But look at me, look at where I've got to. So it may take you a little bit longer. Maybe I could have got to where I am now in 8 years instead of 10 years. but I'd much rather have lived the lifestyle that I've lived so that I enjoyed it and then I enjoyed the process because the journey, the most important part of it all, and then going from there, right? Instead of doing the other way around. All right, well, my storage just ran out, so I had to delete a few videos, but I'm gonna cap this video off here. I know I only got into 3 questions and I waffle a lot, but I want to give you guys as much information as possible so that you can apply to your own journeys as well. So I apologize if you do think I'm a bit of a waffler, but yeah, that's the reason why I do so. Now, I'm going to be doing more of these. Like I said, I do have a whole host of questions here. I'm going to be putting up Q&As on my story too, every now and then. Keep an eye out for those. I'm going to include those questions into these long-winded videos, YouTube videos, so I can connect with you guys more. You guys can see more, you know, about who I am and what I do, and more about my mindset and how you guys can apply it to yourselves. So thank you for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see on this channel. Otherwise, for now, have a blessed day, and I'll speak to you all later.